The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of copper, as Captain Ibrahim Traoré's convoy returned from the northern front. He had spent the day with commanders and villagers, inspecting food supplies and security posts. A few blocked roads had been cleared. Grain had reached hungry families, and a new well had begun to flow. Small victories, but hard-earned. In the backseat, Ibrahim flipped through notes. "Double the grain for Kosuka and Tatao," he told his aide, "and add 2 nurses to the next convoy. Hunger and fever together kill faster than bullets." "Yes, sir," the aide murmured. As they entered Ouagadougou, the city's rhythm surrounded them, vendors calling out, children weaving through motorbikes, radios crackling songs of old griots. Then Ibrahim's eyes caught a figure under a neem tree. A woman, barefoot, her belly swollen with pregnancy, stood holding a tin bowl of coins. Her face carried hunger and exhaustion. Crowds passed without notice. "Stop the car," Ibrahim ordered. "Sir, this street," the driver began. "I said stop." The convoy halted. Guards moved, confused, as Ibrahim stepped out. Whispers rippled through the crowd. He ignored protocol and walked to the woman. Then, instead of towering over her, he sat on the curb so their eyes met. "My sister," he said softly, "why are you here?" She hesitated, ashamed. "My name is Mariam. I have nothing. My husband died. My family cannot feed me. I am 6 months with child. People walk past me like I am dust." "What do you want most, Mariam?" he asked. Her lips trembled. "I do not want coins. I want dignity. Just dignity." Her words struck him like iron against stone. "Come," he said at last. "Not as a beggar, as my guest." The convoy rerouted to a modest guest house near the barracks. Inside, Ibrahim led Mariam to a wooden table where simple food was laid: rice, sauce, and a jug of water. "Eat," he said gently. Mariam hesitated, then whispered, "They will say I have disgraced myself, eating in the presence of the president." Ibrahim shook his head. "They are wrong. To share food is not disgrace, it is honor." Tears fell as she began to eat. Between bites, she said, "Ibrahim, my child must be born without shame. Promise me this." Ibrahim leaned forward. "Mariam, from today, you will not beg again. I give you my word." His aide looked uneasy. "Sir, how can we promise one woman while thousands more wait?" Ibrahim answered without looking at him. "One woman carries the weight of the thousands. If we can restore dignity to her, we can restore it to many." A week later, Mariam returned to the roadside out of habit, but instead of her old spot. Ibrahim's men guided her to a small corner shop freshly painted in yellow. A wooden sign above the door read, "Mariam's Garden." Inside, flowers filled every table: bougainvillea, hibiscus, desert roses. Ibrahim himself handed her the keys. "This shop is yours," he said. "Not charity, not a favor. It is a place where you will sell beauty, and where your dignity will bloom again." Mariam wept as she touched the flowers. From dust to this, "May God bless you." Word spread quickly. Customers came, not out of pity, but because the shop carried a new story, a story of hope. Children carried home bright flowers. Old women whispered that even the poor could rise again. Mariam's shop became more than business. It became a symbol of rebirth. But Ibrahim knew that one flower shop was not enough. He called his ministers and declared a new program: the Dignity Initiative. Its purpose: to lift the forgotten out of humiliation and give them the tools to rebuild their lives. Training for farmers, stalls for widows, microcredit for youth, and shelters for the homeless. Not everyone celebrated. Some officials grumbled. "This will empty the treasury," they warned. Others spread rumors: he is buying popularity. Corrupt men even tried to hijack the program, demanding bribes. But Ibrahim stood firm. "A nation without dignity is a nation without a soul," he told them. "If we can arm men for war, we can arm women and children with hope." Slowly, the initiative grew. Markets filled with new stalls. Widows baked bread instead of begging. Children carried books instead of bowls. Of course, enemies plotted. Some in power felt threatened. Others mocked him as naive. But Ibrahim pressed on, visiting villages, sitting on mats, eating with the poor. His presence gave people courage. Mariam often spoke at community gatherings, her shop standing as proof. Her son, Yakuba, grew beside the flowers. Unknown to his mother, he kept a small notebook, writing down the stories of every person who came to the shop, the farmer who bought flowers for his daughter's wedding, the widow who smiled for the first time in years, the child who traded coins for petals. Years later, when Ibrahim fell in battle, the whole nation wept. His enemies celebrated in secret, but the streets of Ouagadougou overflowed with mourners. On the first anniversary of Ibrahim's death, Mariam sat in her shop, her heart heavy with memory. Yakuba placed a worn notebook in her hands. "Mama," he said, "this is not just our story. It is the story of all Burkina Faso." She opened it. Each page was filled with testimonies of hunger turned to strength, of despair turned to joy. Names, faces, lives transformed by one promise, dignity. Tears blurred her vision. In that moment, she realized Ibrahim's greatest gift was not her flower shop, nor the program he launched. His gift was the belief that every human being deserved to stand with their head held high. Mariam placed a single flower on the notebook and whispered, "Your seeds live on, Ibrahim. They bloom in all of us." And in the heart of Burkina Faso, even after his passing, dignity continued to grow like a garden that could never be uprooted.